What is a process ID, subflow ID, and step key in flows for Apex? Let's start off with the process ID. Once you create an instance of a diagram, then it automatically gets a process ID, and this is unique. The primary key is use of our local table. If you look in SQL Developer on the right hand side here, we provide you with various kinds of views that are delivered upon installing flows for Apex. One of them is the instances underscore VW, and that lists all the current instances. So if I was to create a new instance here, let's call it the demo 1. I'm going to create that one. It's not started yet, but once I refresh here my view, I can see that now my process ID is created and it's called 17. So how does that work with subflows IDs? Because normally you would say that, okay, process ID is enough. It's uniquely identifying my process instance. But let me show you this by starting this diagram. Right now we have a parallel gateway here, and it stands now at subflow 1 and subflow 2. So if I was to move one step forward with subflow 1, I need another ID, because one process ID can have one or multiple subflows IDs, and that should be unique as well. So by clicking on flow underscore subflows underscore VW, that's another view we supply you, and refresh here, we have 3 extra records in here. The one is the top one, and the second and the third one are the ones that are now being active, shown in our diagram. So once you want to work with our PL/SQL API to move one step forward or use a process plugin, you always need to supply both the process ID and the subflow ID. Next to that, there's the concept of a step key. So a step key is best explained by comparing it with the behavior in Apex itself. So if you have like a form page for Apex, and you would like to enter some data in there, and before clicking on submit, somebody in the database alters your data you're currently working on. This should of course be detected, and for that there's a concept in Apex called checksums. And the same kind of principle is also valid for flows for Apex, where we call it a step key. So that basically means that if you're working on a user task and entering some data, somebody behind the scenes might push your step forward already, so it's not standing at the current state you're actually working on. And to detect this, we supply you the feature of a step key, meaning there is for the data a step key created, and that's unique, and that step key is passed along with your form. And then in flows for Apex itself, we're going to verify if your step key still matches with the data we would expect. And if that's not the case, then you would get a proper error message back